meeting as Chuck Franklin, who is the chair of this committee, has still trying to figure out how to get home from New Orleans, where he was flying for the Super Bowl pageantry. So we'll have to talk to him.
Flyover for the Marines.
Yeah. So I will get this meeting together, call it to order. Roll call, please.
Where do I have too many papers. We'll just go around. Landowski. Here. Gronemus.
Here.
Hollenbeck.
Here.
Anderson.
Here.
McNally.
Here.
Millsap.
Here.
Franklin is excused.
All right. And has this meeting been properly posted, and if so,
It
how?
was posted in the upper and lower levels of the Amundsen Community Center, Cambridge Post Office, Badger Bank, and the village website.
All right. Okay. We're going to move on. Anybody want to make a motion for approval of our minutes?
I'll move to approve those minutes from
All right.
December 9th.
I'll second it.
Okay, a motion and a second has been made. Are there any concerns, questions, issues? All right. This goes all the way back to December 9th. I looked at it. I didn't see anything, but frankly, it seems like it's been a while since we've met. So
It
Well,
has.
yeah, we'll go with that. All right. All those in favor of approval of the minutes, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Carries. All right. Now we'll move on to public appearances. We have 2 items that are on our agenda, but is there anybody that would like to speak about some matters that they're concerned with here in the village of Cambridge?
Well, I would, but probably not until they're done with their presentations.
Okay.
Or isn't that
Yeah.
allowed?
We don't usually
It's-
have the
yeah,
give and
It should be
take.
now during public
Um,
comment.
Why don't, John, why don't you come on up and introduce yourself?
Sure. Want me
And
to sit here?
yes, please. You are being televised now, John.
All right.
All right.
Thanks
so-
for the warning. I am John Leadholm, and I live at 106 Center Court, Cambridge, in a subdivision that is more commonly referred to as Westridge subdivision. It's been in existence since the late 70s, and my wife and I have lived in our home since 1984. And we love living in Cambridge, and we are very proud of our community. The reason I'm here is not in so much objection of anything. I was here mostly to learn about one of the proposals that I think was going to be discussed this evening, which was the possibility of an apartment complex being built in the, I believe it's called Westgate area, which is directly behind our house. And my neighbor's house and several others of us, our backyards used to be the village limits, and then when that got annexed in, that's the area right behind us. Several years ago, there was a proposal also brought forward to the Planning Commission about the possibility of having an apartment complex built back there. And at that point, again, we were mostly into the fact-finding mission, which is how big, what are the demographics, where is it going to be, which lot, those types of things. As that information was dispersed, we found that it was going to be large, fairly large, and one of my primary concerns at that point was I felt that there would be substantial families living in those apartments and would most likely have children. And those children younger ones would need to get away to the elementary school. And by the way the crow flies, from the top of the hill there to the elementary school is a very short distance, but there's woods, and it is not developed. There's a field next to it, and then it's just woods, and then you come into the elementary school. The route to get to that elementary school for anybody that lived up there currently would be to walk down Westgate, down to Quick Trip, turn right, walk down Highway 12, go all the way to Madison Street, turn right, Johnson Street, PQ. That's a long haul.
Long way around.
That is a long haul. And if you're a 5, 6, or 7-year-old, I don't think they're too interested in walking 35 or 40 minutes to school. And reality, the distance isn't that far. So our concern was that we felt that there could be a traffic pattern through our yards with an awful lot of young kids. And I guess if I was 7 years old, that's probably what I would do. And I'm not one of those people that is a NIMBY, not in my backyard. I'm fine with that area being developed, but I think that that is not the area for an apartment complex. I just don't think that the way it's set up, first of all, there are no sidewalks out there except for one small section in front of the Quick Trip. And that stops, and it does not go along Highway 12 and 18. So even currently, anybody that's walking is in danger. And secondly, to continue that route, it's very long. And I just don't think that that's going to be conducive to young kids walking to the elementary school. I'm very fearful of the fact that they're going to be walking through all of our yards, morning, afternoon, and then it just becomes an extended pathway to and from that point. Looking at your comprehensive plan that was developed and extended to the year 2045, I have done some research on this, and I want to highlight some points that I'm sure you are aware of because you were all involved in that plan. And on housing, on pages 22 to 26, one of the primary considerations is the protection of existing housing stock. That would be us. 1978 to the current level is existing. Goal number 1 under that category is it is recognized that the character and quiet atmosphere of Cambridge's residential neighborhoods are among the community's greatest assets. As such, the village should seek to maintain the quality of the existing housing stock and supplement it in an appropriate location with safe, well-constructed housing of a density, scale, and character that complements the present residential neighborhoods. I don't think an apartment complex allows for that. It also indicates that you need to preserve and enhance the existing neighborhoods, provide open space that would help with visual and/or environmental quality and not create a hindrance. I'm very happy with our new Quick Trip. I'm not happy with the amount of light that is produced from that building. Much brighter than we were led to believe, especially the red boundary lines. Significantly brighter. And there are no visual barriers between our neighborhood and that. It is now a straight shot. All of the trees were cut down. That, to me, even though I don't want the Quick Trip to leave, is a hindrance to the existing homes that are in that neighborhood. And I would like to see that corrected. Either the village or the developers create a berm, green space, park space, trees, shrubs, so that at least some of that light is reflected away from homes. But I do not want to see another building that could cause that same type of hindrance along with increased traffic. So, do you have any questions for me? All right.
We don't
Thank you.
usually have give and take, you know.
Okay.
with the board. But
Just give.
thank you. Thank you for your input here, John. Okay. Others that would like to speak during this public comment? Anybody else? Came in late, maybe, if you wanted to share some thoughts? No? Okay, I'm going to close this portion of the meeting for public appearances. Thank you very much. We're going to move on now to new business. First one up here is our conceptual discussion regarding the proposed duplexes at the corner of Katie Court and Kenseth Way. Mr. Karshagen, if you would like to come up here.
Yeah, the ones we talked about last month, and these were turning now they're bordering on
All right, good evening.
Can
I'm
you
Shel.
introduce yourself before? Yes,
Yeah.
please.
I am Shel Karshagen, residing at 827 Vineyard Court, Cambridge.
And I'm Neil Pfaff with Becker Associates, the civil engineer in the firm.
All right, okay. All right, go ahead, gentlemen. What are you, you're showing us some sort of a concept here today. So, we're all ears.
Yeah. Basically, this is the land. It's about 1.73 acres. And we are proposing 5 duplexes. And we are also subdividing each one of them, not just in a condominium type, but where you actually purchase the land as well. And we got them into 5 sections, and then there's a little bit of green space with the retention area that's separate. That'll be part of an HOA. Just so you know, our concept on this, we're looking at like a Tuscan type development. It's Mediterranean style. And we just got like a vision board that's just, I can just show you this here quick. You've seen that, right?
I've seen it.
Okay. So these are just ideas. We're looking at calling it Serenade Villas.
Okay.
It's kind of means Serenity Village. And we're looking at, having a nice fence area around there that's actually made up of grapevines. And I've talked with Frank Peregrine, who's the owner of the winery, and he's looking at helping us with all that stuff. And then we're gonna have like a nice gated, not gates, but kind of the entrance area, and then we're gonna do a kind of a stone signature in here. Something, but we're trying to make it so it's real Mediterranean style. So this just throws out a lot of different ideas. Sure. We're looking at doing some turrets and things like that on the buildings too. So that just kind of gives you what we're thinking about doing. So.
Oh, I'd have talked to Shelsum. We wanted to bring it before you guys, before they move further, they'd have to come in with the CSM to divide the land and rezone it. It's currently zoned mixed use, so it would be rezoned for residential.
Oh, okay, all right. Is the
it's-
driveway area going to be private, is that all private there, or is that expected that we'd be plowing that?
So the intent would be to rezone it to like medium density residential, but ideally we'd like to go through a PUD. And the reason for that is because this allows us some flexibility with setbacks and so forth. So to the north, if you look at the map that was provided, we're showing a 10-yard 10-foot rear yard setback. The medium density district requires a 25-foot setback on the rear. And then the side yard setbacks, we believe we can meet those or become very close to the 15-foot. So to get the density that we're requesting, we would go through a PUD with modeled after the medium density residential zoning. However, the specific zoning would be the request for the plan unit development. The driveways would actually be maintained as private, to answer your question. So the utilities and driveways, this would be a private community, but with the intent to have 0 lot lines. So what that means is they would own, each person would own the property and the land and their yard. However, there'd be a homeowners association created that would require dues, not only to cover their roofs and their common wall, but to also cover the asphalt, the landscaping, the stormwater, etc., and plowing to maintain this. It's like a small, I don't want to use the word condominium because that's different than what this is, but it's 0 lot line with a homeowners association. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, what my concern was that this kind of looked like it might be a road there, but it's really more like a driveway.
It is, yep, yep. So it would meet the 2 stalls per dwelling requirement, because if you notice the proposed duplexes shown, they are 2 stalls each, both have 2-car garages.
Okay,
So there's minimal outside parking, but they would allow for garage parking.
How many square feet are you looking at
So
each
that's,
unit?
that's flexible depending upon the square footage that
Yeah, they're
is
about
finished.
probably gonna be around 1,400 or so, and they will have a full basement. And there'll also probably be some egress windows in the lower level if the terrain works out, so,
So that'd be 1,400 per floor.
yeah.
So obviously utilities take away from that finished square footage, but that would be exterior, excluding the garage.
excluding.
Excluding the garage. Yep.
So the existing, that whole line of trees would be taken out, and then you'd just rebuild within 10 foot of the line?
Yeah, there would be a landscape plan submitted to the board. The reason for that, because there would be some screening. If you notice, the apartment complex to the north also either obtained a variance or received a PUD, because they're also 10 feet away.
And the retention pond, is that,
That's just a placeholder for now.
okay? I'm becoming very wary of retention ponds, just because they seem to be offered up as green space, which they aren't, and they are attractive nuisances. And this is like right out in front of God and everybody in the front.
So what would be proposed for a stormwater management facility would be a bioretention facility, which is more of a landscape feature, not a retention pond like you would see at Walmart or Home Depot. It wouldn't be a wet pond. It'd be a shallow depression to take out the total suspended solids, knock down the peak attenuation, and have infiltration. However, those have plantings in them that are native prairie plantings. You could mow that in theory. However, that needs to be approved accordingly. Typically, they're only mowed semi-annually, so, but you can have flowers, etc. within those to promote infiltration through the root system.
I have a couple of questions for the commission. So, but the apartments were approved way before my time. Was there a PUD for that with the 10-foot setback?
That whole subdivision was zoned a PUD.
It was, okay. And this is currently mixed use,
Yes,
I believe.
or,
Is that
yes,
what it
mixed
was
use.
Correct.
Right.
So the density from Highway 12 into the neighborhood is a phased density, so from commercial to private, and I think there is some logic to that, which this concerns me a little bit because you're kind of interrupting that flow of the commercial to private privacy. And I think the 10-foot is concerning. I think having a backyard right up to apartments with 10 feet in between, 20 feet, that's not very much room. And then I guess I'd also like to see if there was a plan for any sidewalks as part of this development.
Okay.
I have a couple of concerns as well. The last time we met, well, the property right across the way, there was numerous, what do I want to say?
Concern?
Constituent concerns, because they wanted to put an apartment building in. We wouldn't let them. They're putting in residential now. They're putting in 3 homes. Because everybody in the neighborhood was against it. And John, you can talk to this because you're right up in,
Yep.
it's just across the street. So we allowed the residential, or the single family. With the exception, they couldn't have any access off of Kenseth Way because there's already too much traffic, and that was everybody's big concern. So I don't know, we just told them that, so for consistency, we'd probably have to tell you that as well. There wouldn't be,
That would meet the intent, the feasibility for this.
Okay.
We're showing 2 exits entrances. The reason for that is just for fluid maneuvering
Well,
for
then the
fire.
follow-up for that is, how do you get a fire truck in there and have
Yeah.
them turn around?
We'll, what we do is, the intent of tonight's meeting is exactly this, to get this feedback. We would provide a fire truck access route and send that to the fire department to make sure that they're comfortable with this approach.
I think the concern last time was we were rezoning from low density to high density.
Yep.
That was a big issue. And you had a house right there that certainly built there, well, it was Roy Kenz's house.
Right.
Way back when, but people bought that thinking, oh, this is low density next to them.
Right.
And that was a concern on that one. So,
Since we're right across the street, I'm assuming that concern's gonna flow down to this as well. Especially when we're taking down all the tree line, the barrier that's blocking all the existing apartment buildings as well. And to your point about the 10-foot setback, butting up to another 10-foot setback, I mean, what do you do with the runoff, the buildings
Right.
and the mud and muck? So,
I think the other concern I heard was that just the increased traffic, and obviously this is less than dense than mixed use would be, but that was the other reason for the Kenseths, right? And then, so I think this definitely would need to go past the fire department review to see how they felt they could get their rig in there.
I will add one thing. The Public Works Committee recently met, and they had a recommendation to the village board to continue moving forward with the entrance from Lagoon Drive to the vineyards. So the board, excuse me, I'm getting over a cold, is moving to move forward on that, so there is more
To flow through the neighborhood.
entrances
Yeah.
to that whole area and subdivision.
I know I had gone on record, and there was an attorney here with the previous applicant, and I had said that until we can figure out another point of access to get onto Highway 12, there's just too much traffic that is getting blocked down there. This isn't like the 134 exchange where it's a metered intersection. You've got an awful lot of traffic, and there was supposed to have been another point of access further down by Catrano's that I don't know if the state would
The
allow
state
that.
will not allow it. We met with them again last year, and they
And
will not allow it.
so we don't have that, and what you've got is at times, not all the time, but at times, it can take you 10 minutes to get out of there. And that is just way too long. And until we can figure that out as a village and have, you know, where it can be done smoothly, efficiently, I can't support any further development. And that's what I told the last applicant that came before us. That's just me.
And that's where I said, you know, the village has committed to doing that one entrance, and I'm always in the position, playing devil's advocate, because wearing my other hat, I know there was concern using Drumlin Trail. That is a village street. Cars can go up Drumlin Trail to 134 to get out to the metered intersection.
a lot of them do.
And, you know, but there's concerns, but it's not a private road. It is a village road that can be used.
Yeah.
So I'm just putting on the hat.
I do
sides.
appreciate the idea of bringing in duplexes or more dense housing, because I think that is needed, and
Yes.
smaller occupancy types, or smaller houses that aren't quite so expensive. So I appreciate the effort there. I don't know that we have any, I'm kind of new to the commission. I don't think we really speak to aesthetic design of the building, do we?
Well,
Have you in the past?
yeah.
If we do a
Okay.
PUD, we could
I'd say we
be,
do.
Yeah, I would
Looking
say if we
more
go to a
at-
PUD at that
yeah.
point, then we would probably
Yeah.
address that.
We'd
I don't mind the concept,
Oh, I like the concept too.
yeah. Does it have to be that many units?
That's what I'm gonna ask.
Yeah.
Does it need to be 5? Could it be 3?
Well, I mean, we're trying to fit as many as we can comfortably. One of the things Frank Peregrine, he's in need of some type of housing for, like, he has all these weddings and stuff at the winery, and these people have no place to stay, so we're actually looking at these possibly being Airbnbs, you know, and, you know, Frank has talked about potentially buying some of them so he could actually house some of the guests and stuff, you know, so.
Okay. What else do we have here? Planning Commission, any other thoughts? This is just a, you know,
Preliminary.
yeah, it's just contextual,
Yeah.
you know.
I guess the only other comment I have about this plan per se, and I understand why it is the way it is that the one duplex is basically its backyard is onto Kansas Way, and that's kind of opposite of the rest of the neighborhood that everyone else's front yard is.
Correct.
Yeah.
Was there a proposed, you know, like a start date on this, or is there a timetable that you're looking at?
Let's see. Probably May is what we're trying to.
Okay. Well, any other thoughts that we have right now for,
Who owns that piece of land now? Is that Kenseth or is that
Matt.
Matt? Yeah.
okay.
So it would be vines basically going where your red line is here all the way around?
That's the parcel. The red line is the parcel line.
But you were talking berm or something, you were gonna put grapevines and, so that would basically all the way around? or-
Sequester it, sequester it away from the rest of the neighborhood then?
Well, it's
Would there be anything between the duplex and Kansas Way?
Screening
just
along the
so you
property
weren't
line.
looking directly
well,
into that
we're,
house?
we're gonna do some berms,
Right,
and then we're gonna do the grapevines on top of that.
okay.
So we get, you know, some separation and some, you know, privacy.
All right. Anything further? Like I said, it's just a conceptual, so we're trying to give you some input. I don't know how you,
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
how you assess all this. I'll go around the table one more time. Jeff, anything? Dean? John? Dan?
Nothing yet.
Okay. I wish you could help us figure out our traffic problem, because that to me is the big one. We have got to get that taken care of, because I'm just afraid we are going to have a
The Vineyards
situation
to
out
Lagoon
there.
Drive is a huge exit to
Yeah.
that subdivision.
When is Lagoon Drive? What's the timetable on that?
MSA had just told us they've submitted everything to the DOT. They're waiting to hear back from the DOT. Public Works would like to see it move forward this year still, if possible. So it's kind of right now. Public Works Committee gave them the nudge to nudge the DOT to speed up, you know, their approvals before they could then go out for bid and so forth.
Okay.
Was there a traffic study done on this?
On what, Kenseth Way or on the 134?
No, like when all these 20-unit buildings and stuff are, you know, there's two
No.
more being built now.
There's never been an official traffic study.
No, and they want to put more back there too, besides the two that they're going up.
Right.
They limited that.
Yeah, we're
That
up
was
to
it.
No.
I think we're getting to the point where we can't add a lot more.
Yeah.
I like the concept myself.
I think the Mediterranean style would fit in very nicely. I mean, you've got I like the stone selection. I know we don't have final finishes, but it is a handsome, you know, building you're trying to put up. It's just the timing.
Could I just ask him to show the concept board to the camera for a few seconds?
The concept board, that one probably.
Yeah.
Which one, this one?
Sorry.
Yeah, so just the one in front of you there.
That'd be a nice entrance into Cambridge.
Yeah.
You're seeing something
Yeah.
like this off to the side.
Yeah. Yeah. Reminds me of parts of Southern California.
With snow.
With snow.
Okay. All righty. Well, I don't know if this helps, but thank you, gentlemen,
it did.
for coming before us this evening.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks.
Okay. That takes care of the first item on our new business. And then we have another conceptual discussion regarding apartments on Westgate Court. Todd Nelson.
Yeah, yeah.
If you could introduce yourself, sir, and your corporate or your business affiliation for our cameras and all the people out in TV land. I mean, they're going to want to know this, so go ahead.
Great. My name is Todd Nelson. I reside in Stoughton. And this is just, there's no affiliation with any business. This is just what I do for my own personal business. So I'd be the purchaser, builder, developer, and owner.
Okay.
And so I'm here to just get a temperature for preliminary idea for that 1.2 acre parcel just south of the new Quick Trip there. Be looking at a single, what you have there is just a preliminary site plan. This site just came to my attention mid last week. And I'm a infill income property builder, not looking to go out and buy the next parcel of land on the outside of town. I usually look for either something to get rezoned, torn down, just a redevelopment. I scaled one of my buildings on the site. It's 148 feet wide by 68 feet deep, 2-story, 20 total units, 28 bedrooms. Everything we do now is Energy Star certified build. So we do get it independently inspected by an Energy Star consultant. You know, I think the site lends its well to proximity to the highway there, being fairly close to Quick Trip. I think my feelings that a multifamily project probably would work very well there.
And I'll just add in conjunction, the Public Works Committee had a very full meeting a couple of weeks ago. We also talked about the sidewalks, twofold, going from the old Quick Trip to the new Quick Trip. That is moving forward. So the sidewalks will extend into town from there, as well as across Highway 1218 to attach to the bike trail to the Vineyard subdivision then. So those sidewalks will be completed coming up
But the
in the near
concerns,
future too.
the concerns that were raised with, by the other gentleman with the shortest possible route to get to the elementary school and whatnot, is there any opportunity there for any kind of a public right-of-way that would permit the
There-
kids that were there?
There is still the whole big lot behind in between that we don't know what's going to be on that lot yet. It's privately owned lot, not a village lot.
Which is zoned commercial.
Yeah.
Business commercial currently, so, you know, you could get a beverage distribution center there.
Yeah, it could be anything back there if it meets zoning. I don't know if neighbors have had, all the kids in the Vineyard subdivision. I don't know if they've seen kids walking to school and cutting through, but that's not the question before us. The question is what, right now this is zoned business highway.
Right.
Do we want to keep it business highway? Do we want to, look at possibly rezoning it? What do we want there?
Which lot is this? Is this the lot where the crematorium was going to be
No.
on?
No, this is right at the,
Because there's one swamp, right? Is this the swamp lot?
so no, this is the swampy area is more behind. You have the Quick Trip right here, so it's right across from the Quick Trip. The
Okay.
whole area
Where's the
behind.
Quick Trip?
There might be a larger map in your packet,
Yeah.
if you're probably on the last
so,
page.
It was unreadable. And,
Oh, I'm sorry, in the scan that came through.
If you were, sir, if you were to walk out of Quick Trip's parking lot
Yep,
and head across the street, straight
Right
south.
across.
okay.
So the
Because it was
crematorium would have
wetlands.
been a small portion of the larger lot behind. This is right along 1218 and Westgate Court.
Gotcha. So this
So-
isn't, because I thought this was all wetlands on
No.
this side.
No, just
But the adjacent property to the east is wetlands.
has some, yeah.
Right.
That big parcel in the back would have some of the wetlands and some along the highway where the sidewalk will be going.
So is this 12 and 18 here, or is, what's this
Nope,
right
nope,
here?
It's up a little bit further.
Be up in the corner, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's up here.
Okay. So this is just the entrance to
That's,
the subdivision, or
if
to
you
the,
put your finger to the top of the page,
Yeah.
just a little bit to the left. Go
Okay.
to the left, a little bit more. That's Quick Trip right there.
right there, okay.
Yes.
I'm a little slow, you know.
And you're talking 20 units here?
Yeah, two-story building, 20 units.
Right, and then, this is cut off. Are you looking at 8 two-bedroom and then 12 one-bedroom?
Correct.
Okay.
28 total bedrooms.
What kind of price point would you be guessing at?
Well, this is considered workforce housing, so I do Energy Star certified, so I will get federal tax credits through my increased spending in energy efficiency. One bedrooms would probably start at about 1,400. Two bedrooms would be approaching 1,800.
Yeah, because we're definitely looking for affordable housing here. in
Yeah,
town.
right.
That's what everybody complains about.
And you know, the story's very similar in every community. There's just not enough housing, you know, in all brackets. You know, I did kind of look at this site, you know, to try to chop it up a little bit, maybe to do, you know, condos, ownership there. But I know I'd probably get a little bit of blowback with the proximity to being close to Quick Trip. You know, I mean, that can be a great thing, but it also can be a kind of a negative thing depending on what your market is.
Have you done this before, Todd?
Oh, yeah. I have this building in Stoughton. I have this building as a three stories in Portage.
And how long have you had these buildings?
I've been doing this for 20 years.
Okay, all right, so you've had them for 5 years or more?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if you were just looking at maybe doing this and then selling it to somebody else. So the inference here is that
No,
you're gonna
I keep,
do
yep,
this.
yep. So I own the real estate Dollar Tree in Stoughton and in Jefferson. Just finished up a condo project in Johnson Creek.
Okay, all right. What else do we have?
Well, question about process. So if this is currently commercial, we would have to go through a
It
rezoning.
would have to be a rezone,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, and, knowing that, I mean, would it be a PD, PUD, or just get it rezoned? I mean, I'm sure landscaping plans has to meet certain point markers, stuff like that.
I think if we were to consider this, we need to, I mean, I know there's a comprehensive 2045 plan, and I've looked at it, but I want to look at it again and make sure that we're not messing with the densities of that plan and where things are and what we want in each location. And I know we want Cambridge to grow, but we want to grow in a smart way.
Yeah, I know. We put so much time last year onto
Yeah.
that comp plan, and now we're going to go and change it.
Yeah.
How old is that comp plan?
We did just revise it last year. And one of the biggest issues we have is being landlocked.
Right.
So if we want land infill, but
And we did identify some areas for, higher density and whatnot, but Westgate, this,
outside the village for
Yeah.
the most part.
this
Yeah,
wasn't part of
because-
it. Someone did come, like the gentleman who talked first, did come and want to put a big apartment building in that back lot a couple of years ago. But that was a much bigger unit, a 3-story, I don't remember
Yeah.
how many.
Yeah, that was a
7 years.
whole complex
Right.
and was being looked at that point.
Residents were highly against it.
What's your timetable on this, Todd?
Oh, I mean, if I received a positive temperature here, I would go back to my engineer, start working on a site plan that would show impervious areas, give you, all the calculations, all the setbacks and everything like that. Start working on revising the elevations from a 3-story to 2-story building. I mean, just put together the packet, so there'd be less imagination on your end. So that would probably take me at least a month or so to put together, and depending on, public hearings and stuff like that. But yeah, I would like to see something happen there, again, with a positive reception here, definitely by the end of the summer.
So you've got a couple of these units, one in Stoughton possibly.
Yep.
Would we be able to look it up online? What would we look for your property? Would we just search Todd Nelson?
No, just go to 400 South Van Buren.
Okay.
Todd, how did you come up with the ratio mix of 8 2-bedroom and 12 1-bedroom?
Basically, the building that I have is the outside corner units, both in the front and back. The way the plan's drawn are 2-bedroom units
Okay.
to take advantage of the
Yep.
corners
Corner.
for the added windows for the 2 bedrooms. Interior units are the 1-bedrooms.
And do your buildings have, what kind of facilities do they have in them? Is there shared laundry? Is there, like, what?
No, that's a good question. So, it's all a stainless steel appliance package, smooth top range, stacked washer and dryer. Right now, I've been using Samsung appliances. Other amenities, a 6x8 deck or patio for each unit. Building would be sprinkled for fire protection, 24/7, monitoring. The devil's always in the details as you get deeper in. I can communicate with Lisa on that, but if there's going to be any requirements for an outdoor grill or a picnic table, stuff like that, sometimes I have, those things find its way into the plan.
Is it all surface parking, or do you have underground?
This is all surface parking.
All surface parking.
Okay, other
And then
questions?
we get back on that, we always make sure we have, anywhere between 1.3, 1.5
Per-
parking stalls per bedroom.
Sure.
So we do those calculations, so not everybody, just because it's a 2-bedroom doesn't mean you have 2 cars.
Right.
But you get that 1 or 2 residents that are having a gather, a Super Bowl, then parking gets weird, so, we revisit that all pretty.
Don't we have a 2-spot per apartment ordinance?
I'd have
believe
to
we do.
look for sure.
Other questions? So what do we want to tell this potential investor? Do we have enough to take it to the next step and have them invest some time and money into some meaningful plans? How do we feel about this? Because I think the big issue for me is we're moving this from commercial,
Yeah,
and that was the area that in the comp plan,
Right.
that's what we had.
Right.
We don't have that much other
Right.
land.
I have concerns with all the work you did on that plan, and just without thinking about it enough, saying, yes, we should do this. I think
Yeah.
we need to think about it.
I can understand your concern, and I'm doing 1 or 2 of these meetings a month in different municipalities. I was surprised to see it zoned business commercial there. It could sit vacant for a while. I wouldn't be, the parcel due north across the street, I think it's like 4 acres. I mean, eventually somebody, a larger developer is going to come in and make a presentation for higher density, 4 acres, shoot, that's, 150 unit project. I mean, I'm looking at doing a commercial deal in Johnson Creek, almost the same parcel of land, but it's 2/3 the cost. And it's in Johnson Creek. Literally, I can take a skateboard right down and get on 94. So I'm not, I mean, could sit vacant for a while. If
Yeah.
it,
Well, we understand that. We're just trying to, when we came up with our comprehensive plan, we were looking out 25 years.
Yeah.
And, what did we see and, for development and trying to, okay, we've got some room for this, we've got room for this, and so forth. And to come back and it's probably not even a year, and we're having what we sense, I do, a major change. I'm not saying it won't happen.
Right.
I'm just saying that to move this from the commercial to the mixed use is,
It's more than a discussion tonight.
yeah.
Right.
Well, this site is kind of protected because we do have, due north is the public street, to the west is the wetlands. The only adjacent property would be to just that little sliver of about 75 feet that would be to the, well, no, it's more than that, to the south. You're familiar with the new, that huge beverage distribution center in DeForest? 800,000 square foot building?
Well, yeah,
Huge.
but DeForest, that's where Quick Trip is putting their
Uh,
distribution.
Up the hill.
Oh,
Up the
okay.
hill, down the hill. Well, yeah, I did 40 units right across the street from that. So it was kind of it was an intersection. To the west was single-family homes. To the south was the Pepsi distribution area.
Okay.
700,000 square foot building.
Yeah.
Due west was commercial building owned by Intercom.
Is that near V, Highway V?
No. You know where the new Hooper corporate building is? Hooper Construction, Hooper Sheet Metal
I know who Hooper is, but I don't know where the new building
I don't know
is.
where that.
in DeForest. It's kind of back there in that area, but you know, again, I'm just, you know, this will be a $2.5 million building at my cost. You know, I'm kind of thinking about like, okay, what happens if it's, you know, if they approve this and what's going to go across the street? I mean, I'm sensitive to that.
Yeah.
When
Like
did
I-
you, when
yeah.
did you say the sidewalks were going in to connect up with what we have in front of the old Quick Trip?
We're working with the, getting the permits that expired from the original plan, so, working to get those permits renewed, and hopefully this year, those will be going in as well.
Then we'd have to have some kind of sidewalk down this cul-de-sac then too for the residents. How would these get rented? I mean, you know, I'm calling up and I want to rent a place. I'm assuming it's too small where there's going to be somebody on site who's like a manager, or is there?
You're about halfway there.
Okay.
Okay, so what we do is, basically when it's under, when it's under roof, we use basically three types of marketing: apartments.com, Craigslist, and Facebook Marketplace. And all three work equally well. And then for 20 units, we can justify as we're renting it out. You know, usually, I'm pretty hands-on. I usually start getting a feel for the tenants. And I feel if there's somebody that I'm making a good connection with, I'll offer them some type of concession to vacuum the halls, pick up the newspapers that haven't been selected, kind of, you know, there's always a lot of Amazon boxes that are getting delivered. This building does have two entrances. It actually has three to meet fire code, but usually I'll search a person out that is willing to spend, you know, an hour a week and stuff, you know. Keep an eye on the property, pick up stuff.
Where I was going with that is I own properties up in Minneapolis that we rent out, and there's always residents who, hey, it's Saturday night, I'm calling up about something, so I was just curious, who would they call? Somebody local, or if they had issues, you know?
Oh, well, typically to start things off, I'm pretty open with my number, so they'll call or text me, but then eventually I get to a point where I hand it off and I notify everybody that you can always call me, but you're going to get a better response at a certain, you know, after about 6 months, because I'm off trying to put out other fires.
Can I ask a question of Mike Hurl?
Absolutely.
All right. Mike, you're the owner of this, right, at the present time. Do you have any other, you don't have to tell us who they are, but do you have any other parties of interest as far as this commercial? You know what you were coming here a year ago with, or 2 years ago.
We're working on a couple other things, but it's more so it would be in the service bay type project. So it'd be one of those situations where it kind of looks like retail in the front, but in the back of it is drive-in doors and things like that. It's for like HVAC companies and you know, service companies like that.
Okay.
They need a professional look in the front, but it's, you know, working in the back.
All right. I understand. I mean, just curious how you're doing here with, you know, selling off the rest. And I know that the crematorium, that didn't.
As far as Todd is concerned here, the block that has given us the most grief as we've been trying to figure out how to go in for a final CSM on this whole thing is what to do with this lot.
We weren't even thinking about apartments, but when Todd called, I was like, my goodness, well, that's actually a good use to be able to look out over that wetland area and take it from there.
Okay. All right. What else?
Yeah, I mean, the accessibility for some type of multifamily rental there is great. I mean, they can get to the stoplight in a matter of seconds and then get wherever they have to go to. So I really like the accessibility, getting in and out.
All right, well, it's conceptual. So, what do we want to do here? How do we advise this potential investor? Do we have enough to go on to?
I don't mind the concept of it, I think, but if, right now it's commercial, we have other things to do before we look at it, don't you think?
Okay.
I like the concept, but I do have some the concerns, same thing with the commercial. Are we going to change the zoning?
I agree. I also don't like the way it's just, I mean, I know it's very preliminary, but the way it's cited on the lot and addresses the street, I think it could do a little better in fitting in. But I think because you did so much work on the plan, we can't just scrap it in an hour.
Jeff?
Well, again, I've always been for, getting some growth going here, but we were planning on, this is commercial, that's adjacent property is commercial. It just seems as though there's as many cons as there is pros for it right now.
All right. Dean?
Kind of in the same boat. I mean, conceptually, I like it. I think it would be an easier sell going for a 20 unit than that huge one that was on that back lot. I'm very close to this, so I'm, with John, people walking through. But if it's a smaller unit like this, I think we'd have a better shot at keeping people on the sidewalk. But there again, it is, you all say it's own commercial, so that's the thought.
I know that we need rental housing. I mean, we need it. And these price points seem to be the workforce.
Yep.
Good.
I'm stuck with the whole, we just went through our comp plan. And you may not have known that. And, we put so much time into that. And then to move it off of that commercial to this mixed use right at this time, it just seems early. I could see where if maybe you were already into it for 5 years, and I'm not suggesting that, Mike, you come back in 5 years and nothing happens, so now you want to see a change. But we just did this. And you seem like a stand-up guy. I don't know anything about you, sir. But I don't want to see us just walk away from something that we spent so much time on last year. I mean, we had meetings, and we must have had 60 people in here talking about our comprehensive plan and the changes that we wanted to make and the things that we wanted to make sure were included in that. And for us just to, as a group, to kind of walk away from that, I'm feeling awkward on doing so. So that's where I'm at. Now, this is not the board. This is the planning commission. If you wanted to, I guess you could continue on and give some further thought to it, come up with more of your plans, what your selection of finishes would be. We could take another look at it from there. But you don't want to probably spend too much money on that.
No, I think I'm getting, I'm happy that I came down here this evening. I'll definitely chop it up tonight and tomorrow. you know, I just want to make it, you know, by potentially rezoning this one lot is not necessarily walking away from all of the work that you've done on the comp plan and for this area. This is just a small portion of what's in here in the cul-de-sac. You need housing. If anything, maybe a project like this might actually help kickstart, because whatever commercial buildings maybe gets developed back there, you know, their workers are going to need housing. You know, what, you know,
Depending on
what options do I have if I wanted to rent a 2-bedroom, 2-bath place here in Cambridge?
depending on what went into those other lots, as far as who builds in there and what it is, that would probably impact you being able to rent out units, correct?
It you know, sir, you know, 20 minutes ago, I'm sensitive to that. And, you know, that's also something that I will be, you know, again, thinking about. Yeah, I don't. I mean, yeah, you could call me out and say, "Oh, this is great, Todd. When can you get going?" But no, I think it's, you know, the 35 minutes here has been well spent, and I'll talk to Mike and kind of take it, you know, see what we do moving forward.
All right.
I don't know what kind of additional water issues we're going to have too. I mean, if you got 20 units, you got 40 parking spots, so your parking lot's going to be huge, abutting a wetland. So
Yes, I'm familiar with that, and I'm sensitive. I've built a lot of bio ponds, stormwater pond, whatever the heck you want to call them that. You know, I don't confess to be an expert. I just let the engineers, Schneider Engineering, you know, hammer that all out, and you know, we're sensitive that it being next to wetlands. Typically, we like to bump those up towards the city street, in case, you know, again, I can talk to your public works, but the last couple we've done is we connected a standpipe to the sewer, so it hits a certain elevation versus overflowing, it goes into the sewer. But that's stuff that I'm very familiar with, but I'm not trying to be an expert. I just let the engineers do that.
And we do contract with Dane County for our stormwater management for projects such as these, so we're in conjunction with Dane County.
Well, we appreciate your interest, and you can take this information, you go back and talk it over with Mike, think about it yourself.
Awesome.
And, you know, if you would like to come back in front of us again,
I
I'd love
appreciate
to hear it. But have what you have right now, and thank you for investing your time this evening.
You bet. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Okay, move on to unfinished business, building inspector. How are we doing?
Just an update, the village board did approve 2 weeks ago to go out for an RFP for building inspection. With tax collection and election, we haven't gotten an RFP ready or anything yet. I did reach out to Deerfield because we have talked to them in the past, and they have a new administrator. They have the same building inspector and are still, so we may look to go out for services for the two communities together still. So we are moving forward. Other things just had to take a priority for a couple of weeks here.
Can we just leave this one then on the agenda, and then we'll get an update next month? Sounds like a plan to go with? Okay.
I did want to make one point too on both of these properties that they were looking at tonight. Both of those are within TID districts, two separate TID districts. The one with the Dancing Goat from the Rick houses all the way up to the facility. The fire is included in that. This one is included in the TID district that Quick Rip was created for. So,
all right. Okay, correspondence, I see none.
Nope.
Nothing to talk about there. Is there anything else that we want to bring before the committee or consideration for a future meeting?
Yes.
All right, Jeffrey.
What rules do we have for retail space on Main Street right now? Do we, if we have a retail storefront, is there any requirement from the owner that they actually operate it as such? None whatsoever.
It's,
What I'm thinking of is our old Jimmy John's, the sandwich shop, which is now was a Chinese restaurant. I don't think I've seen it in operation for 4 years. And I'm just wondering, what's up with that, and whether or not we have any requirements to make the retail space work or not.
Wasn't she running a catering business?
I don't know for sure. The hard part is they're private properties. We
Right.
can't tell people
Yeah.
what they have to do
Well,
as a business or,
I didn't know if we had
But-
anything because we had, because there was other incentives or anything else to go
we
into.
do have, for licensing, there's certain incentives that you have to be open to have a liquor license and so forth, but
Nothing for that then?
not for
Okay.
retail.
Okay. Just a question. I just didn't know whether or not we had something there that we needed to kind of encourage.
Yeah. It's funny you mention that because I had a question from somebody this last week and they were asking about that. And I said, it's not open. And they were like, no, it is open. And I said, well, what nights? Because I've never seen anything. I mean, I've
I don't
driven
think
by
it's
that
open.
building, like 500 times. And, there's never any lights on. So I just think that they've kind of given up on it, but they have all the equipment. Looks like you could walk in and,
I thought I heard from somebody she's running a catering business.
Well, if that's it, then that's great. I just didn't know.
I don't know that for sure, but
Okay. Is this something you want us to follow up on?
Well, it was a question as to whether we had any requirements for any of the storefronts or not. And apparently we don't. So,
Okay. All
What's
right.
going in between the dentist office and the veterinarian?
lawn care.
What is it?
It's a lawn care business.
And a photography. When I spoke to him before they bought it, she has a photography business, and his office for the landscape and a garage will be there. We did require them to get the equipment off the road before winter and so forth, and they will be planning on building come spring.
Okay. Does that answer your question, John?
Sure.
Okay.
It's just, there's all that equipment out there all the time, and
Yeah.
I,
All right. Okay. Anything else that we'd like to have on the agenda here, next meeting?
I guess, Mark, I mean, you're concerned about the exiting and entrance into Ketseth Way, and I don't have the parcel plans to show what the opportunities are, but we can't add another drive off of the road there.
No.
So there's really not, I mean, that probably shouldn't be a comment going forward, right? Given that we'll have one way in and one way out in Lagoon in the backside now?
Well, if 134 gets a little easier to get through
Yeah.
there, to get over,
Yeah.
and that whole intersection, then you can, some
Yeah.
of that can be alleviated with that. That's possible.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to, it doesn't sound like we're going to have another point of access down
Right.
by Catrano. So then we just live with what we've got off
Right.
of Kenseth Way. But to me, until,
Kenseth Way, Drumlin Trail,
Yeah.
and the crossing at 134. So there would be 3.
so, but I until that is kind of ready to go, I'm leery.
Sure.
I don't want us to put any more pressure, because I have heard from people that are down there and it takes them 10 minutes to get out of there at times. It's not like that all the time, but you get 10 minutes waiting, you're going to have people doing some stupid things.
I think just in the morning and,
Well, the
the
rush
late,
hour
that's when
times.
it is. It's,
Yeah.
Rush hour times.
All right.
The intersection of 12 and 18. I brought up a couple meetings ago about it being very dark this time of night.
The police were checking with the DOT on where the right-of-way is and who would be. We have one streetlight on the Main Street side, so they were checking with DOT. That came up at Public Works as well.
I brought it up. I brought it up there, and did I mention that at law enforcement? I don't remember.
Either law enforcement or maybe it was at law enforcement, not at Public Works, but the police were looking into it.
Yeah, because you're right, Dean, that is dark
is
down
dark.
there, yeah.
We just got spoiled with the Quick Trip being there.
Yeah,
It was
they had the
sold out.
awning lights and,
Yeah.
you know, they were good to go, and now we've just got one, it's like a 100-watt bulb, you know, hanging there, and it's not exactly what I'd say performing
The lights on the food
illuminating
truck.
services.
Yeah.
Speaking of lighting, I have one question, comment. I appreciate the comment about the light spillover into the neighborhoods from Quick Trip. And I know the city of Madison has requirements. They have a lot of requirements in Madison, but one of them is that you can't have any light spillover from one property to the next. And I'm wondering if we should investigate some kind of light ordinance, maybe, or something so that future developments don't cause that same
We
issue.
had something like that for dark skies at one point, a
Dark
while
sky
back.
might be different than light going to your neighbor.
But it's light trespass is what
Yeah.
it's referred to as.
Yeah.
And there was some of that was dealt with in Summer Prairie, but I don't know if it either got lost or we never really enshrined it in our ordinances. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know for sure.
I know that we didn't want to have streetlights. We did talk about having streetlights that weren't going to be, you know, I guess I don't know what you want to call it, broadband or whatever, but
So, again, playing devil's advocate, creating some of the issues with the darker corner because our streetlights
Yep,
along
yep,
there
yep,
are the,
yep.
you know, we put those streetlights in to
yep.
keep
for
it darker.
darker.
Um,
That's right. That's right. So you
I always get
you
thrown
gotta
into
have
the middle of
a
these
you gotta have
arguments.
a happy medium somewhere for the
yeah.
right kind of use. But the one there at the Quick Trip, the old Quick Trip, that definitely needs to be something needs to happen there for sure. But the new one is just, I mean, it's brilliantly lit. You can
beacon.
see it from miles away.
I think one of the questions that came up at the old Quick Trip too is to see what happens with that parcel, what's going in there before we start doing a lot to it.
Anything happening there that you know of?
I have not heard anything. I know they've gotten the pumps out.
Right. They did all the stuff they had to do.
Yeah, but I don't know.
It's a good piece of property for a business.
One thing, as we're looking at the sidewalk plans and stuff, closing out the Quick Trip permits, the entrance off of the 1218 side does have to be closed off as part of the plans from that original. So it would just be the entrance off of Main Street.
Getting back to the problem that was raised here earlier, and I'm not an electrical engineer by any means, but is there a way on that building, you know, as you come in from the west, Madison, that's that side, not a problem, and the side that's facing 1218, not a problem. It's maybe the other two sides. Is there a way that we could ask them to tone that down on those two sides?
Shining into the residential neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, because I got to imagine they have all, yeah.
We've approved the plans,
I
what they
know,
have.
I
We
know.
Depending on the light fixture, there are shields they can put, like blocking the light from going to the sides. And it's possible to ask what they have and if they could add something.
I mean, I know it's been approved and, you know, but we're having a bang-up business. And if you don't believe me, try to get your car washed out.
Right. No kidding.
You cannot get in there
an hour and a
without
half.
10 cars in front of you. So, but if there was a way that they could just protect the backside of that,
Tone it down and/or baffle it or shield it, yes, absolutely. And, you know, Quick Trip is a very good neighbor.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
I think they would be very open to being approached.
I was down there and, you know, I talked to, you know, 2 of their district managers and corporate accounts, and they seem like they'd be willing to at least listen, because this is not the first time we've had this as a concern, the lighting that's coming off there.
Yeah.
So, let's put that on the agenda for some discussion for next time, and then we can kind of proceed from there. Is there anything else that we want to have on next month's meeting, assuming we have a meeting next month? I don't know if there's anything else that's, you know, it's gotta
Depends
come in.
if any of the 2 that were here today come back with rezones or
Right, okay.
requests.
All right, well, we'll have that. Okay, that brings us up to item number 9.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that motion.
All right, all those in favor of adjourning this meeting, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Nobody wants to stay here and talk. Okay. All right, thank you, everybody, for your
Thank you.
service.